What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Peds and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to have to make this one quick. So it is December 30th. Happy New Year's Eve to you guys tomorrow. Happy New Year for the upcoming year. As you can probably tell, I am super sick. I had planned on doing these videos much sooner, but unfortunately, I picked up a bug for Christmas. So on Boxing Day, December 26th, at night, just around like supper time, I started to feel that little tickle, and I was like, I'm probably just tired, whatever. Woke up on the 27th, and I went, no, I'm going down. And by like the afternoon on the 27th, KO'd. On the 28th, I couldn't even really get out of bed. Yesterday was still pretty rough. Today is the first day where I feel like a slight human. I'm still pretty unwell, but this is one of my favorite videos of the year because I get to talk about 5 fountain pens that are my favorite from the 2023 year. I do this every year, and I really wanted to get this in before the new year. My top 5 video of the same thing, but for fountain pen inks, won't be until the new year because I just don't think I have the energy to do more than one video because I barely have enough energy to do this one. So top 5. I limited myself this year. Normally I do a top 5 and then I have like 10 different honorable mentions, and I'm not going to do that this year. I'm only going to do one honorable mention because it's actually going to be a bit of a spoiler for you guys. I was sent a pen for review purposes. I really love it. And I have not done the review yet. So spoilers. So an honorable mention is this. And if you can tell what this is, then you will know. And hint, it is not a Kaveco. So honorable mention to that. I really like it a lot. But for my actual top 5, these are not in particular order, these top 5. I just picked them because they're the ones that I, A, use the most frequently, and B, look forward to using the most. So I'm going to start off with the most audacious fountain pen because the rest are pretty chill looking. I debated between 2 pens for this spot, and I ended up going with the Benu Briolette. This is the amber version, the ones that like kind of glow in the dark. I picked this one up last January, and I have been in love with it. I've talked about this pen a few times. This is my comfort pen. This is the pen that I use when I just need a hug, like right now. But I did not want to break my rule of having too many pens inked up because I already have 6 pens inked up, which is double the amount that I normally allow myself, but I was sent a whole bunch of pens for review purposes, so I wanted to use them all. And this pen I absolutely adore. I was going to choose one of the Euphoria models because that typically is my favorite. Specifically, I guess I should have potted out, but specifically the Bourbon. This was the very first Benu pen. Again, I've talked about this one quite a bit as well. But I decided, you know what, I've actually used the Briolette a little bit more than the Euphoria, so I went with that instead. It does have the smaller number 5 size nib, which really is the only beef. I wish it had the number 6 size, because it does seem a little bit too small. I mean, it doesn't like outrageous too small, but it does seem a little bit small for the size of the pen. But other than that, I adore it. All 5 of these, by the way, I do have full reviews of, should you want to check that out. Okay. Another one. I'll just pull them at random. Why not? The Lamy 2000. This has been in and out of my top 5s for ever since I bought it, basically. I included it this year in my top 5 because I have used it much more than I normally do, bringing it back and forth to work with me. So that's nice. And then you're going to notice a bit of a jump cut because I have to go blow my nose. I have no idea how many times I'm going to have to do that in this video, but we'll find out. So far, once. The Lamy 2000. A lot of people asked if I was disliking the Lamy 2000 again, because in the last Well, at least one in the last year. I think both in the last year, but maybe one before that. Anyways, I had two others. I had the blue one and the brown one, and I've since sold those. And so people were wondering if I liked the Lamy 2000 anymore, since I was selling them. And the answer is yes, I do, very much do. The reason I let those go is because I didn't use them very often. I always went back to the original Lamy 2000 black Macrolon. It was just the one I preferred. It was the very first one I ever spent like the most amount of money on at the time. I've since well blown over that, but we all understand that, right? And so, yeah, so I only ever really used this one. And so I was like, what's the point of having so many pens that I don't use? You know what I mean? So I sold those because I wanted to keep this one, and only this one. It's not as a medium nib. I've used the fine nib. I quite enjoy that one as well. But the medium is just that extra bit smoother, that extra bit juicy for me. And I like it quite a bit. Another one that I like quite a bit, I apologize for the low energy, guys. I just really wanted to get one more video out for the year, is my Custom 74 from Pilot. I do still eventually plan on getting a different color, that blue steel, or blue stone, I think it's called actually, or the forest green. I definitely have my eyes on, but I adore the 74 with a medium nib. It's super wet, writes really, really nicely. And specifically what I love to use this pen for is for less saturated inks. So pens that are the like multi like chromatic inks. So a lot of the Sailor like 224 or 123s. Currently I have Ferris Wheel Press Storied Blue in here, and that one really benefits from having a very wet writer, because it shades phenomenally. Fits really nicely in my hand. It's on the smaller side. Does have these smaller Pilot nib, but just fits absolutely stunning. The converter that's in here is the Con 70, which can be a bit annoying to clean out, but if you've got an ink syringe, it's less annoying, and it does hold a nice chunky beef amount of ink for a converter's amount. Anyways, words, English, it's hard. This is the first day I can sort of hold a sentence together, but I'm sure going back it's just going to be all garblegook. You never know. I don't know. What is life? Merry Christmas. So I've used this quite a bit this year. In fact, this one has probably been the one that's inked up the longest, the most consistently out of all of these. Along the same lines of the Pilot Custom 74 is the Pilot Custom 912. I was going to call it the 823, and I'm like, that's wrong. The 823 is also, it would have been like my number 6, basically. I just used it less this year. I've focused mostly on just these 5, so didn't include it. Had I done my honorable mentions this year, it would have been there, but I decided no. Stick to the rules. So this 912 has the Falcon nib, so the one that flexes a little bit, and I've replaced the plastic feed with the ebonite feed that has 3 slits down the middle, so it's very wet. Very, very wet. It is a fire hose, which I adore. I very much like using Diamine Writer's Blood in here. It's currently not inked up, but it also has the Con 70. But I also really like using like Troublemaker inks, a lot of Ferris Wheel Press, the Sailor inks, in the same vein as this pen, where it really shows the qualities of the ink. I really like this pen as well because, like I've mentioned a couple times, if you are consistent in watching my videos, I really like the Falcon nib because it really shows, like when you go back and read what you wrote, like if you wrote a journal entry like a year ago and you go back and you read a bunch, right off the bat when you see that video or that paper, the writing that you had, you know what mood you were in because it is incredibly responsive to the pressure that you're using. So, you know, if you're in a bad mood, you tend to write a little heavier, scratchier than if you're in a happy, bubbly, lighter mood. It's just really fascinating. And if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I highly recommend it. And then the last of the top 5 that I used for 2023 is this beefy boy. This is the Jinhao X159. This is basically like Jinhao's like Mont Blanc 149 dupe. It is one of my most popular videos that I've ever done when I talk about the like most important pen. I'm sorry that I'm saying a lot of uhs and ums in this video because it fits so nicely in my hand. I love the size of the nib, great flow, nice and smooth, nice and wet. I like the fact that you can use it as a test run almost for the 149 from Mont Blanc without having to spend, you know, over $1,000. It does come even with the Jinhao converter, which is really nice and it's relatively inexpensive. I don't recall exactly how much it was off the top of my head, but I'm gonna guess in between like the $20 to $30 range. I just can't quite recall. What I like a lot about this one is, unlike the majority of my other pens, like even the other 4 that I have in this top 5, this one has a much wider grip section than all of these. And occasionally I just want something different, something that really requires like a good grip. And it writes really, really phenomenally. Like, it blew my mind when I got it. I originally got it just honestly for the purposes of content. I had zero interest in the pen, basically none whatsoever. I was like, it's a Jinhao. I've done a bunch of Jinhaos before. They're like, you know, they're fine, but they're nothing special. And I bought it purely for YouTube, and it was phenomenal, and it's changed the game for me. And that's a big thanks to the people who support me on Patreon. So plug to those who support me on Patreon. Link in the description if you'd like to check it out, because I use those funds to help fund content for this, where usually I have much more upbeat energy. But I'm going to go take a nap now. Hopefully I get it up today. If not, it's New Year's Eve today. So we'll see. But those are my top 5. So we got the Benu Briolette in the amber finish, the Pilot Custom 74, the Lamy 2000. We have the Pilot Custom 912 and the Jinhao X159. Those are my top 5 this year. Let me know in the comment section down below, what is your top 5 fountain pens, or just favorites. It doesn't necessarily have to be 5. If you got 1, cool. If you got 6, that's cool too. Let me know in the comment section down below. Have you used any of these 5? Did you like them? Did you hate them? Let me know that too. While you're down there, sorry for the sniff, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe if you want to see new content, usually every Monday and Friday. The last little bit's been kind of wobbly cookie, but you know, time is a bowl of soup. So thanks, Fern. But anywho's, I'll see you next year, guys. Bye.